Welcome to this week's edition of Crossing the Goal Line. Greg Shoemaker along with myself, Brandon Saho, here on TriStateFootball.com. This week we're looking at the 5 players who have burst onto the scene in 2012, starting first with a guy from Talawanda. That team is 0-4 this season, but the future is looking bright courtesy of sophomore running back Maurice Thomas. Greg, what makes him so versatile?
Well, there's one thing that you got to like. It's Talawanda hadn't had a whole lot to look forward to over the last couple of years, going 0-10 for back-to-back years and starting off 0-4. But the thing that's real impressive about Thomas is he brings the element of speed, which is something the Braves haven't had in the last couple of years.
Next, Greg, we have 2 players from 3-1 teams. They're the GCL freshman phenoms, Jacob Harrison from Chaminade Julienne and Nick Watson from LaSalle.
Those 2 quarterbacks have got very good futures ahead of them. Harrison started the last 3 games for the Eagles. Last week, I think he had a career high 135 yards passing. He hasn't thrown the ball a whole lot. Doesn't need to with Jamel Sanders and Darian Howard in the backfield for him. But again, only being a freshman on a team that's got a chance to go pretty deep into the playoffs and calling the signals, it's going to benefit that program for a lot of years moving forward.
Looking over at Kentucky, there's a first-year starter in Andrew Sampson who has helped his Simon Kenton Pioneers to a 5-0 start, excelling not only as a top-notch runner, but also being able to catch passes out of the backfield. That
versatility's done very good things for the Pioneers in the early season. Sampson's got over 400 yards rushing, a couple hundred yards receiving, and he's got 9 total touchdowns. It leaves some of the pressure off of quarterback Brennan Kuntz. And again, 5-0, but Simon Kenton still hasn't played anybody at their level. They've won all 5 games against lower-class teams. And then again, looking forward at Sampson being a senior, how well is his body going to hold up being a first-year starter in the backfield?
And another team in Kentucky who is also 5-0, Greg, is Cooper, who we saw recently on the U.S. Marines Backyard Battle, and they have a stud at defensive back.
Yeah, Morgan is a great young player. I'm looking at him. And Aaron Morgan is his name. He's got tons of speed, Brandon. He because of their defense, and it's a defense that's only given up 7 points or fewer in 3 or 4 of their 5 starts. But because of their defensive pressure up front, it allows him and Tyler Morris to make great plays on the ball. And when he makes plays, he is the danger to take it to the house, a game changer in his own way. Aaron Morgan's going to be a fine young defensive back and wide receiver. He's made a couple big plays in the passing game as well for the Cooper Jaguars.
You can find out all you need to know about these players, their teams, and all the other teams here in the Tri-State by logging on to TriStateFootball.com. Like us on Facebook, Tri-State Football, and follow us on Twitter, TS Football.